What if the greatest royal decision of the decade wasn't announced from a palace balcony, but whispered behind a closed door? No cameras, no cheering crowds, just one quiet sentence that would leave an entire family wondering if some wounds can ever truly heal. For years, speculation surrounded the possibility of reconciliation between Prince Harry, Meghan, and the royal family. Public tensions had eased at times, and behind the scenes, there were reports that a carefully managed path back into royal life might still be possible. Rather than seeking a full return, the proposal reportedly suggested a limited role with strict conditions, reduced public appearances, and carefully controlled responsibilities. On paper, it sounded like a compromise. But inside the palace, it represented something much larger than a simple request. Senior royals weren't deciding whether someone deserved another opportunity. They were deciding whether the trust that once held the family together could ever be rebuilt. Every conversation reportedly returned to the same concern: years of strained relationships, private disagreements, and the fear that history could repeat itself. While some believed reconciliation remained possible, others questioned whether reopening old chapters would only create new divisions. As discussions continued, the atmosphere became increasingly serious. This was no longer about headlines or public opinion. It was about protecting the future of an institution built on stability, duty, and confidence. Then the answer arrived. The proposal was rejected. There would be no trial return, no gradual restoration of royal duties, and no official roadmap back into the working monarchy. But what convinced the family that reconciliation had become too great a risk? According to those familiar with the discussions, the answer wasn't found in one decision. It was hidden inside years of broken trust. As palace officials examined the proposal, attention reportedly shifted to events that had unfolded years earlier. According to accounts surrounding the discussions, the decision wasn't driven by a single disagreement, but by a pattern that had slowly weakened confidence within the family. One private gathering became especially significant. It had been arranged as an opportunity for honest conversation, away from cameras and public scrutiny. The expectation was simple: whatever was said inside that room would remain there. For a brief moment, it seemed as though trust might begin to recover. But that hope didn't last. Soon afterward, details that were believed to be confidential reportedly surfaced outside the family circle. Whether the information was intentionally shared or reached others through indirect channels has remained a matter of public speculation. Even so, the incident reportedly left lasting doubts among senior royals. From that point forward, every attempt at rebuilding relationships faced the same obstacle: trust. To some members of the family, another official return carried the risk of reopening wounds that had never fully healed. A public appearance designed to symbolize unity could quickly collapse under renewed controversy, placing both the institution and future generations under intense scrutiny. Supporters of reconciliation argued that people can learn from the past and deserve another opportunity. Others believed responsibility to the monarchy required difficult decisions, even when they came with enormous personal cost. The proposal slowly transformed from a question of forgiveness into a question of stability. As the final discussions approached, one person would carry the responsibility of delivering an answer that could permanently redefine the family's future, and the words spoken in that room would soon echo far beyond palace walls. When the final decision was delivered, it reportedly left little room for interpretation. The proposal for a limited return was declined, bringing an end to the possibility of resuming official royal duties. While personal family relationships were said to remain separate from institutional decisions, the message was clear: the monarchy would move forward without reopening that chapter. For Prince Harry and Meghan, the outcome marked the end of years of speculation about a potential return. What had once seemed like a bridge back had become a permanent dividing line. Inside the palace, however, the decision carried its own emotional weight. Those responsible for protecting the future of the monarchy also understood the personal cost of closing the door. Stability may have been preserved, but it came with the painful recognition that some fractures cannot simply be repaired by time alone. Outside the palace gates, public reaction quickly split into opposing views. Some believed the decision demonstrated leadership and the importance of protecting the institution. Others saw it as the final confirmation that reconciliation had slipped beyond reach. Yet beneath every opinion was a far more human story. This was never only about titles, public appearances, or royal traditions. It was about a family that had struggled to overcome years of misunderstanding, disappointment, and broken confidence. Whether history ultimately judges the decision as necessary or heartbreaking may depend on perspective. But one truth remains difficult to ignore. Some doors are closed in anger. Others are closed because those holding the key no longer believe reopening them will heal what's already broken. And sometimes the greatest tragedy isn't that a family chooses different paths. It's realizing those paths may never lead back to one another again. Subscribe.